Hey guys, so tonight I'm doing another book review. I finally got to read some more of James DeSantis' stories. And I gotta say, James, what's in your head creeps me out, but your horror stories are absolutely fantastic, so I'm gonna keep reading. James DeSantis wrote Exterminator series, and I did a review on that before, which I'll put a link in the posting later so that you can go back and see it if you didn't see it before. He sent me a couple of them. The first one he sent is the sequel to Killing Your Boss. If you remember, I think I've spoke about it before. Killing Your Boss is basically, how should I say it? Kind of a fantasy that some of us might have. There might be a boss in your life where you just wish you could get your hands around him. Three people who worked for this really bad guy decided to go to his house and scare him. It didn't work out that way. There ended up being 4 people dead, and it was really, really gruesome, but really, really great. James has a very good way of keeping you on edge, and in the sequel that he's written, it's A Day at the Office, and he talks about a guy who clearly has lost it, but you don't know that until the end. And he ends up going to work, and he says, I'm just going to talk to the boss about Lucy, who turns out to be his wife. In it, he meets up with his best friend first, kills him, because in his mind, he thinks that his best friend has cheated with his wife. Then he decides to go on and try to kill his boss, which doesn't quite end as you think it will. It was very interesting. At first you think you know where it's going, but as usual, James has that way of turning it around and you completely go for a loop. So there's that. It also leads into the cops finding out and getting brought in to the original killings, which was in the first story, Killing Your Boss. So kudos to you on that, James. I really enjoyed it. It was fantastic. The next one is My Little Rabbit. James, you kind of do need an editor again. Just saying. However, I am a grammar Nazi, so take that with a grain of salt. It was amazing. It was absolutely fantastic. The story itself, you don't quite know where it's going to go. You think you know, you don't know. It follows a woman who is going through a really tough time in her life, and she's being chased by a clown. First off, I hate clowns, okay? So bringing that up, clowns are just creepy and scary, and thanks, James. Now I have a really vivid image of my head that I just can't get rid of, and I hate that about that. Okay, so anyhow, the story definitely keeps you on edge. It goes through what she's going through, but in a way that you're not quite sure what's going on. And he does give an explanation at the end. It's a really short story. I think it was only like 45 pages. But it's basically, in her mind, how she's dealing with a disease. And it runs in the family. Her mom had it. She died from it. But you don't quite understand that until the very end. There's an explanation for it, which I gotta say is quite fantastic. The clown is the disease itself. It manifested in her mind as something that was chasing her, trying to capture her, destroy her. Like many diseases, the clown creature wanted to kill her, and it was a metaphor for the fear of facing the disease itself and always being on the run. I couldn't have said it better myself. That has got to be one of the fantastic things. He doesn't tell you what the disease is. He doesn't tell you how it ends. So there's kind of that, you get to figure it out on your own. But I gotta say, the entire story, she's running, she's scared, she's pushing everybody away, and it is exactly like you would expect from somebody who's fighting something. They think they have to be alone, but they don't. So again, fantastic story. Very creepy, very scary. You won't be disappointed, I promise you. He's got a bunch of other stories on Amazon, so if you are really into horror, I suggest reading his stories. He's got one that I really, really like, Sparks, about a guy who's dying of cancer, but is given this amazing superpower, and he uses it in such a way that it was fantastic. He saves people, he does all the things that you want to do in life, but you always wait until it's too late. So that's another really good one I suggest. The Exterminator series, I know for sure he's got 2, maybe 3. Sorry, James, I kind of forgot. I lost track. These are a great series as well, especially for young adults, maybe even older teens, maybe, if you're really mature about reading. So I highly suggest him as an author, starting with those. Work your way into the other stuff. He really does have this great way of putting that horror out there. And you will be scared. Yeah, but it's a good scare. So, thank you, James, and everybody else.